Dennis Smith Jr., Kevin Knox, Mo Bamba, Thon Maker, Derrick Rose, Kyrie Irving, John Wall, DeMar DeRozan. What do all those players have in common? They were all drafted at high picks because of their high school mixtapes. 4 of them will turn out to have an amazing career, but the other 4, not so much. So let's see what happened to all of them. Let's start this video off with Dennis Smith Jr. Dennis Smith Jr. got drafted at the 5th overall pick mainly because of his flashy plays and dunks. In college, he averaged 18.1 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 6.2 assists. And before college, he was an absolute beast in high school. But in his senior season in high school, he tore his ACL. Most players would take about half a year to a year to recover from such a big injury. But Dennis Smith Jr. was seen playing normally in just 2 weeks. The reason why is because he has 2 ligaments. So because he had 2 ACLs, his recovery time was insane. So that basically means Dennis Smith Jr. is like a superhero. And then he went on to the NBA, getting drafted 9th overall to the Dallas Mavericks. He did have a promising rookie season, getting 15.2 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 5.2 assists. But then in his second season, that's when Luka Doncic came. And Luka Doncic was simply better than Dennis Smith Jr. And Luka performed best with the ball in his hands, but so did Dennis Smith Jr. So Dennis Smith Jr. wanted to leave the Mavericks, so they traded him for Kristaps Porzingis to the Knicks. And in New York, his career would slowly dwindle down, and now he's averaging 5.5 points a game. Not only that, but he's also shooting 34% from the field, which makes him a bust. Next up on the list, we have Thon Maker. He had extremely flashy plays in high school and he could dunk on people really easily. Multiple people said he's just a taller version of Kevin Durant because he's tall and he could shoot threes. And in high school, he averaged an outstanding 22 and 13 while getting 5 blocks a game. And because of his superstar potential, he got drafted 10th overall by the Bucks. Everyone on his team said he had MVP potential. But then in his rookie season, he averaged a very underwhelming 4 points, 2 rebounds, and 0.4 assists per game. And in Milwaukee, he never averaged more than 4.8 points a game. Then he got traded to the Detroit Pistons, and then he had his best season, getting 5.5 points a game. And by the way, Thon Maker has never averaged over 0.9 assists per game, so that makes Thon Maker a bust. Next up on the list, we have Mo Bamba. When he was in high school, he averaged 14 and 11, and he had a 7'10" wingspan. And because of this, he got drafted 6th overall to the Mavericks and got traded on draft night to the Magic. And in his rookie season, he was nothing better than an average player. He averaged 6.2 points, 5 rebounds, and 0.8 assists a game. And in his rookie season, he got even worse, averaging 5 and 5 a game. And an anonymous coach says he's the most overrated player in the NBA, and that makes Mo Bamba a bust. At the number 4 spot on the list, we have Kevin Knox. He had pretty good height for a high schooler considering he was 6'8", and he averaged an insane 30.1 points, 11.2 rebounds, and 2.4 assists. Because of those amazing stats, he got drafted 9th overall to the New York Knicks. He had a pretty solid rookie season, getting 13 and 5 a game, but he shot a terrible 37% from the field. But then in his sophomore season, he randomly started averaging 6 points a game. Not just that, but he's shooting 36% from the field. He's still young and has potential, but as of right now, he's a bust. Next, we have Derrick Rose. In high school, he led his team to a 33-2 record. He also averaged 25 points a game. Because of this, he would obviously get drafted number 1 overall by the Chicago Bulls. So fast forward a couple years years and Derrick Rose is now an MVP. But then after his MVP season, tragedy struck. He tore his ACL. Tearing your ACL is one of the worst sports injuries you could have. But after his injury, he was still a great player, scoring 20 points per game. But for some reason, every team still didn't want him. Then he went to Minnesota, where he averaged 6 points a game. But then he had a really good bounce back season, getting 18 a game. And now he's on the Pistons, where he's having an amazing season, averaging 18 and 6. That makes Derrick Rose great. And as for DeMar DeRozan and Kyrie Irving, you've definitely heard their stories, so I'm just gonna skip them. Now at our last spot, we have John Wall. Now here's some respect to John Wall. He grew up in a very rough neighborhood and he got arrested at the age of just 12. And his dad got arrested, so the only way he could visit his dad was if he was in jail. But he somehow managed to play through all that. In high school, he averaged 29 and 8. So after college and all that, he was obviously picked first overall to the Washington Wizards. And as a rookie, he averaged an outstanding 16, 5, and 8. And we all know he was a 6-time All-Star and he's most likely going to get into the Hall of Fame. And that makes him great. Who do you think had the best high school mixtape out of all of these people? Comment that down below. And until next video.
Lucas.